Alves calling together. Guess I was too early. Good evening, everyone. Tony Gonzalez calling together tonight's planning board meeting for May 6, 2025. We have a light agenda tonight. First, we have proposed zoning. We have a site plan review at 575 North Montello Street, definitive subdivision at 34 Sumner Street. Nothing was requested to be continued, right, Evan?
Nope, no requests.
Okay, so we'll do a roll call for the board members. Marty,
Yeah,
Matthew,
Here.
Yolando,
Here.
James,
Here.
Tony, present. Okay. Is there a motion to accept last month's meeting minutes?
Motion to accept April minutes. Second.
second,
All right. Roll call, Marty,
yes,
Matthew,
Yes.
Yolando,
Yes.
and James.
Yes.
Tony, yes. Okay, next is the R5 Senior Residential District Amendment. Evan, do you want to take that one on?
I believe actually Attorney Burke is going to present that, so let me just move him over. He is coming over now. And Attorney Burke, if anyone else should come over as well, just let me know.
Thank you very much. I think you'll probably have Councilor Griffin and Councilor Thompson who co-sponsored the amendment, but I'm happy to do the introduction and let them make a presentation. It became clear in discussions with a number of city councilors that there was a need for constituent housing relating to senior housing in the various wards in the city of Rockton. We had a senior housing ordinance. There is some confusion as to the prior ordinance, but I believe it was in fact removed by a prior council. As a result, we prepared some draft language that was submitted by Councilor Thompson and Councilor Griffin that carried much of the same content of the prior ordinance, except it made allowances for what appears to be a significant portion of senior housing now, and that is a rental fixture. The prior ordinance basically only dealt with home ownership, and it's become clear to a number of developers that there's a great need for senior housing that provides a rental option for older Americans. So precisely in a situation where they sell their family home, generate some cash, and it allows them to live in a specific senior housing community and not be forced to reinvest their savings in case one of the spouses passes, then they don't have the obligation to deal with the property for sale. Simply, they can terminate the rental and make other arrangements. The second feature that was missing from the original ordinance was that the property needed to include, since there was housing, the possibility of rental apartments in addition to duplexes, triplex, and fourplex units. In discussions with the various developers, it became clear that, and it educated me, in and of itself, senior housing is not a particularly income generating option for a developer. I think that's easily seen by the fact that there's very little real estate in the city of Brockton right now that isn't up for development in some way. You can count on one hand the number of senior housing developments that have been attempted in the city in the last 20 years. If it was in fact an economic model that had great return for developers, it would be used. So the net effect was the developers made it extremely clear in ones that I represent, and I have two that are ready to go with projects, that In order for it to be successful, there had to be a mix of multi, if possible. So the way this ordinance is structured, when I say that, I'll preface it by saying the original ordinance had a hearing before the ordinance committee. And at that point in time, it was clear that there would be a number of changes discussed. The net effect was that the ordinance chairperson had suggested that the interested parties meet with Mr. May and Mr. Evans and basically attempt to reach language that could be jointly presented to the ordinance committee. We did that, and we had a number of meetings. We have now a framework of language that we would like to present to the ordinance committee for their consideration. In that language, there are various changes that basically suggest that one, the planning board would be the determination as to the appropriateness of the site plan. It would be handled by the planning board. It would be able to determine issues like access and landscaping. Uniquely, however, in terms of landscaping, there are provisions within the ordinance specifically for landscaping. 50% of the development must be open space as part of the ordinance. The density that's allowed are 10 units per acre. And in order for there to be a viable senior housing property, it would have to have at least 5 acres of land, which in and of itself identifies that there are just not a lot of options within the city of Brockton that contain a contiguous 5 acres of land. If there is to be a multifamily along with the senior housing, in order for that to happen, there must be at least 10 acres of land. In the scheme of things, the multifamily housing can't exceed the senior housing by any more than 20%. And in order to provide some security that it doesn't turn into a multifamily housing development, the senior housing units that are allowed for occupancy must equal the multifamily housing units. So the senior housing would have to be built at the same time or first to make sure that, in fact, it is successful in how it's approached. Other than that, there is a number of other languages. Basically, for the roadway, it would remain private unless it's built to the city standards. The provisions are made for adequate access for public safety, including fire, in terms of radius. And I think that just about exhausts a brief overview of what the ordinance will hold. Essentially, as you know, because you've done this many times before, a planning board per statute under Chapter 40A is required to provide a recommendation. And it's a recommendation for it to proceed forward. We would ask that you allow that recommendation to proceed forward. I believe that we have an ordinance committee hearing scheduled sometime in the next 2 weeks. And at that time, we would present the revised language and hopefully move it forward for a full city council vote. So unless there are specific questions, I think that's probably an overview.
Thank you, Attorney Burke. I have just one question. You said there isn't a 5 acre piece of property?
No, I said there are not a lot of 5 acre properties in Brockton. And it would have to be at least 5 acres to qualify for the senior housing ordinance.
Okay, well, I'm ready to buy one in 2 years.
Well, Mr. Macy, who has been before you a number of times, has a project ready to go. You know, he builds a pretty good house and does what he says he's going to do. And another client of mine who's a very successful and good builder, Doug King, has a project ready to go. So it is possible that if you recommend it to go forward and it gets revised and approved by the the city council that you may see plans for construction by the fall.
I don't believe we have one in Brockton. Is anyone
You
aware?
do. We
Where-
do.
Where is it?
I think you have it on West Chestnut Street.
Hmm.
I'm not familiar with it. Questions from the board? Okay, James?
No, I think I'm pretty good with this one. It's pretty clear what the outside of a standard zone, what the relief needs to be. So I'm pretty good with it.
Okay. Is this open for public or no, Evan?
It's
It
definitely
is.
a public hearing. Yeah.
Yes, I see both counselors would like to speak, so we will let them speak first, and then we will see if any of the public would like to speak as well.
All right.
So we can start with Counselor Griffin, if you'd like to go. You had your hand up first.
You're too slow, Phil, so I'll jump in first. Good evening, Madam Chairwoman and members of the Planning Board. Jeff Thompson, Brockton's Ward 5 City Councilor. I'm a co-sponsor of this senior residential ordinance, and I request your favorable recommendation on this petition. I'll reincorporate everything that Attorney Burke has stated about this ordinance. The senior residential ordinance will allow older Brockton residents to age in place. It's a needed ordinance. The ordinance committee has been thoroughly debating this matter. I believe we have good language that will be reheard before the ordinance committee sometime this month. And so I would just ask that this board recommend this matter favorably. As stated, it's needed in the city of Brockton. Many constituents have reached out to me asking for this specific zone so that they allow them to enter into a community that would allow them, number one, to downsize their current home, which would take away the burden of shoveling snow, mowing their grass, and would also have amenities for them. Whether it be outside amenities, community rooms, community activities, different communities and events that will allow more social activities for seniors. And so being often visiting the Council on Aging, speaking with members in that organization, they regularly ask if Brockton will develop a senior residential zone. I'm glad that we have one currently being debated, and I believe it's in the best interest of Brockton to incorporate this zone. And I just ask the members of the planning board to recommend this matter favorably so we can move forward with doing the business of Brockton residents. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members of the board.
Thank you. Next is Mr. Griffin.
Oh, yes. Good evening, Madam Chairman, board members. I'm also in favor of this amendment. I co-sponsored with Jeff. I think it's sorely needed in the city. I've received, in my ward alone, numerous requests for some senior housing in the city, which is very limited at this time. So I think these amendments will be able to generate a lot more interest from developers in building, hopefully several developments to accommodate this need and a growing need. I think the rental options are a really good option for seniors. When they downsize, they might like the flexibility of that, because life has different lefts and rights when you get a little bit up in age. And that flexibility, I think, will be a very good selling point to get those things fully rented. I also, the mix of multi in there, I mean, that's just the way things have to be done, because everybody needs to make money. Developers need to make a profit. The city needs to make taxes, and seniors need a place to live. So it's really a win-win for everybody. I have no trouble with that, and it still has to go through the ordinance. So what I'm asking for tonight is just really a favor review from you, a recommendation rather. And I want to thank very much for letting me speak, and have a good night. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone with their hand up from the public?
I do not see anybody raising their hands. I do want to say, though, we also received an email earlier today from Counselor at Large Farwell, voicing his support for this as well.
All right, thank you, Evan. Is there a motion?
A motion to recommend favorably the R5 Senior Residential District Amendment.
Second.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Marty,
Yes.
Yolando,
Yes.
Matthew,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Tony, yes. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good job.
Next up, site plan review for 575 North Montello Street.
Scott, and he is coming over now. Oh, and Kevin as well.
All set?
And it's just the two of you, right, Scott?
Yes, I think it's just me and probably Kevin Patton.
There you go. You guys are here.
All right,
Do you have
Great.
a plan to put up, Scott?
you just don't even let me get started, Madam Chair. Just go right in with that.
Well, I figured.
All right, I'm ready. I'm hoping.
You got this.
All right, I'm screen sharing. Do you see
There
it?
you go. Wonderful.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, Scott Farrier from Holmgren Engineering. Tonight I am representing the Cape Verdean Association of Brockton, a pretty exciting project that they have proposed at 575 North Montello Street. Their existing property that they own on North Montello and East Battle Street. The existing property is the home of an existing three-family right at the corner of East Battle and North Montello. And then they're building to the left-hand side of the property. What they're proposing to do is to increase, basically double the square footage, put an addition on the property that will allow them to really increase the amount of services that they provide to the Brockton community. It's primarily a classroom space. There'll be some offices, but it's primarily classroom space, just so they can continue their support for the community, navigating language issues, any social services needed for, again, anybody of the community. So it's kind of a exciting project for them. Because of the addition, they're required to have an increase in the parking. We need 16 parking spaces, which is what we're proposing on the site. So we meet the zoning requirements. I'm just trying to make sure. Actually, it's 23 spaces. They need 23 spaces. We have 23 proposed. As you can see on the plan, we're proposing a whole bunch of green space around the front of the property, green space around the back that abuts the railroad tracks, a parking area, a new drainage system that will handle all the runoff from the building in a good portion of the parking. The existing site has the parking area in the back, all parking in the front. So it's really just a sea of paving right in the front. There is essentially no drainage at all with the existing site. So we're increasing the green space, breaking up that sea of paving in the front. The only parking that will be in the front of the site will be the one ADA space up near the association entrance and the ramp. All the other parking will be in the back. As I said, right now, there's really no drainage. Everything just pretty much runs off of North Montello and back to the railroad tracks. We're proposing an infiltration system in the back here that'll meet the stormwater management guidelines. We went to tech review, and really the only comments that came up with tech review was just requesting that we close up the curbing that exists out on the site. Right now, it's pretty much wide open all the way across the front of the property. So we've proposed some curbing across the front just to define our driveway entrances more clearly than they are now. Besides that, it's a pretty easy project. I think I've got Kevin Patton online as well from BKA if maybe we can just give him a couple of minutes to show us his plans and answer any questions that you folks may have, if that's okay, Madam Chair.
Sure. And where's he from?
Kevin Patton from BKA Architects.
Okay.
Scott, you don't by chance have the full set of drawings, do you?
I do.
Okay, perfect. That way I don't have to figure out how to screen share.
Well done, Scott. Well done.
All right, so this is a proposed view from Montello Street. To the left side of the rendering is the existing building today. It's a former fire station that's been repurposed into offices and a meeting area. The addition would go to the right towards the current residence. The addition is proposed to be constructed to be compatible with the former fire station, so it'll be a brick building on the Montello Street. When we transition to the side and the rear, we are going to propose an eaves finish, stucco-like material. We cannot have any openings on the right side of the building due to the fire separation requirements to the residents. The original fire doors will be partially infilled. You can see that on the left side. The restrooms are proposed to be in that area, and the new entrance to the property will be in the new addition. And then over top of that entry, we'll have a canopy that shelters that first floor and that pedestrian traffic. Scott, do you want to flip over to the next sheet, if there is one?
Sure.
All right, so in the lower level, which is primarily used for mechanical space and educational classroom spaces, which is what it's going to be proposed to be used for in the future. It also has its own entrance off the back parking area. So there'll be two new larger classrooms in the addition, and the existing classrooms will just get slightly reconfigured on the left side there. There is currently no access from the primary floor, the ground floor street level, to the lower level. You had to leave the building, go around to the back, and then enter a door at the back of the property. So in the lower right corner, we're proposing a new set of stairs that will collect or connect all three levels, as well as an elevator, making the building fully accessible. We can go to the next sheet, Scott. So the ground floor, we are proposing a new multi-fixture bathroom improvement to the property with the stair and the elevator to the right. And then the primary function of this space is a large meeting area where they can have their board meetings and so on and so forth. We can go to the next sheet. Upstairs today, I don't know if anybody has been in to see how their operation works, but they are literally sitting at the same desk, shoulder to shoulder, working at tables. It is the most cramped office environment I have seen in quite some time. So they are badly in need of privacy as they're having conversations, as well as adequate workspace for their staff. So we're proposing 12 hard-walled offices, a small meeting room, and a break room for staff, as well as a couple of staff restrooms. And I think that's the program and the architecture. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Thank you, Kevin. This doesn't have anything to do with our decision, but who funds this addition?
So Moses has assured me that they have been collecting funds for quite some time and have built up a piggy bank to self-fund this project.
Okay, and I know that this is also a summer camp for children, not just Cape Verdeans, but my son once attended when he was very young. Where will the outdoor play space be for summer camp, since you're taking the parking?
Right, so I don't know all of their program attributes to this property. It's my understanding the summer camp is at the church across the street. Scott, are you aware?
Yeah, I thought the same thing, Kevin, Madam Chair.
Right.
I believe it's moved to across the street now.
So I don't believe they provide that at this
Yeah.
property anymore.
Yeah, there's really nothing on site now, Madam Chair, board members. It's, just the parking area. There's nothing that would lead you to believe that it was any type of a summer camp, except for maybe some of the graffiti on the retaining wall on the side. But besides that, it doesn't look like any kids have been there in a while.
Right. Well, it's definitely much needed space. I've been there. It is very cramped. So very nice addition. Questions from board?
I have a question, Madam Chair.
Sure.
So if we go back to the parking spaces, Scott, I think you had mentioned that you were required to have 23 spots.
Yes.
And it looks like there were only 22, unless that front one is a tandem spot. I'm just not seeing the 23rd spot.
Oh, you're gonna question my math. Let me see.
Well, it looks
know
like it
we-
went through tech review and all concerns were addressed. Did
Yeah.
anything come up during tech review about parking spaces, Evan?
20, 21, 22.
Not that I recall.
No, I'm sorry. No, you're right, Mr. Gallagher. The space in the front, we've got the two right there. It is a tandem parking off of the street for the existing three family. So we've got the numbers there, in each kind of little parking area. So right over here, there's 4 spaces, 3 spaces, 10 spaces across. That gives us 17. 3 in this area. That gives us 20. And then 2 right here, a tandem space for 22, and then the ADA space for 23.
Got it.
Thank you for making me sweat, though. I appreciate it.
Sorry about that. I saw the tandem spots and I wasn't sure because when you flip to the next page, it just
Yep.
showed one car there
Yep.
and no space for the tandem. So I just
Okay.
wanted to double check.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I've got a question. So that is the 3-family owned by the association? Is it part of their?
Yes,
Okay.
sir, it is.
All right, so that wouldn't be, the in and out wouldn't be an easement or anything?
No, is one of the comments that we had at tech review and both from the planning department and the building department brings us up in a lot of these commercial spaces where we have shared lot lines and a building going through it. Once we receive site plan approval, we'll have a recordable plan. We've already have it prepared. We're just waiting for site plan approval that will combine all 3 lots into one lot. So it'll
Okay.
be one commercially zoned lot with the 2 separate structures on it.
Gotcha, and that works a whole lot better. Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, James. Any other questions?
Are there any renderings of the back or?
We have not rendered the rear, but they can be, well, they will be done soon as far as the permit set, but
It looks great. I appreciate the renderings of the front and the vision that went into this. It looks like a great new building and a renovation of this building, and I think will be a great asset to Brockton.
Very
Ma-
good. Any other questions, Marty?
Yeah,
No, I'm good. It
Madam
looks
Chair,
beautiful.
one more if I could.
Sure.
So the green space in the front, do you know what the plantings are gonna be, towards the street side plantings?
Yeah, we do have them, Mr. Sweeney. So this plan here and on the landscape plan, but we do have them laid out, all the different names, and then
Not touched.
and then both the common names and the botanical names, and also a picture showing them. So
Okay, is that what will be planted? Is that,
yes,
okay,
correct. So
Beautiful.
they
think that-
can kind of scatter throughout the site, because it's so close to the street, mostly shrubs in the front, and then a few, deciduous trees along the back and along the side.
yeah, that's great. I think that whole street would benefit from, street trees too, but
For sure.
that's great. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to the public sector. Is there any hands up?
Password.
I do not see any hands up, Madam Chair.
All right, is there a motion?
A motion to approve the standard conditions.
Second,
All right, roll call. Marty,
yes.
Yolando,
Yes.
Matthew,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Tony, yes. Thank you, Scott and Kevin.
Thank you.
Oh, Scott, looks like you're staying with us. Next up, 34 Sumner Street. Definitive subdivision.
Yes, ma'am. Again, Scott Farrier, Holmgren Engineering, Madam Chair. Board members along with me, Attorney Jake Creedon. I don't have a plan ready for this one to share, Madam Chair. I'm sorry as usual to disappoint you. But what we have, I'll just give you a quick rundown, then hand it over to Attorney Creedon. It's an existing property at 34 Sumner Street, kind of a large property, about 60,000 square feet. As usual, coming to my rescue. So it's an existing property, 60,000 square feet on Sumner Street West, right off of Pleasant Street. And they have two existing buildings on the property that have building permits, have access off of Sumner Street West. And what we're looking to do is just to divide the property into two. In order to divide it into two, we need to go to the Board of Appeals for relief from frontage and from setbacks for the existing buildings. So in order to get to the Board of Appeals for that request of relief, we have to come to you folks first, as you know, for a definitive subdivision. So the Board of Appeals will view it as existing lots. So that's what we're trying to do. It's, as I said, two existing residential structures, a driveway that comes in off of Sumner Street, utilities, separate utilities for each building. And we're just hoping that the Board of Appeals will allow us to divide it as shown, Madam Chair. I think if I could, Madam Chair, if I could just let Jake speak over my shoulder for 1 second.
Yeah, I don't have a good evening, members of the board. I don't have a lot to say other than it's a quite huge parcel when you consider the situations generally in Brockton. You know, anything 20,000 feet or more on a residential situation is considered a very large lot. They have already been through just recently in February to April a certificate of completion from the city building inspector. And if you haven't been there, you should see how beautiful the two properties are. The rear of the property and all the property along Sumner Street in the rear are woodlands and grasslands, and also I would suggest wetlands. And that runs behind all the properties all along Sumner Street, all the way into Stoughton and further. There are similar, these large lots that are there. There are similar places that have a similar small house lot on Sumner Street in front of it. And again, if you haven't seen how beautiful that property is, considering that the other structure was I think 1800 and something barn. It now has a two garage under the house, marked 3 spaces on one side that are striped, and on the other side where the hammerhead part is 2 more. So there's like 5 spaces that don't even touch anything else. I can't say enough about how it would enhance the area. It is beautiful. All of the houses, it's surrounded entirely on one side by stockade fence, and the other side of the property is that white plastic fence. So I think the subdivision would be a good use and a good decision if we can do that.
Okay, thank you for that. Evan, before I continue, can you speak to the issue with the utilities? It says the plan does not show the existing or proposed utilities, but is there also an issue with extending out to that second property?
Just so right now, currently there doesn't appear to be a separate hookup for the building that would be split off onto Lot B. That was also an issue that the city engineer raised as well with this. If this is meant to be two separate lots, then it should have its own utility hookup, not
Yeah,
going
but-
through the existing unless.
Yeah. No, I agreed with that. I don't have the separate utility shown. We did go through a lot of planning with Brockton DPW, so each structure does have their own sewer service. I do have this circle with an MH right there is a sewer manhole that comes in off of Sumner Street. From that manhole, it branches off to the house in the front, and then a separate sewer line out to the house in the back. So they already have their existing sewer services in functioning. As I said, it was approved by the Brockton DPW sometime last summer. It was kind of a long drawn out process to get it. The sewer out in Sumner Street itself is about 16 feet deep. So it's kind of a difficult construction project. So that's why we came in off the street with a manhole, as I said, and then we forked off to the two properties. So that has been resolved with the DPW, and in fact already exists. Yeah, I know.
So was this plan for the separate sewage not presented to the planning department? Or outlined on this plan?
To be honest with you, Madam Chair, it was a utility plan that went to the DPW for a utility permit, and I did not include it with this application. I certainly could forward it to you folks if you'd like, but I did not include it with this application. But it is, as I said, it's already constructed. It's in, and there is in fact plumbing in both of the buildings already.
Okay. What about electric, water?
Yeah, they both buildings are occupied, Madam Chair. As Attorney Creedon said, the building in the back that was a former barn was converted to residential property, and that was the certificate of completion that Attorney Creedon spoke of was basically their occupancy permit. So both structures are currently being occupied. The reason we want to divide the property is just so they'll have be able to have separate ownership and separate tax bills and things of that nature. But both structures are occupied, have their own all existing utilities.
And is there a driveway? A separate
Yeah,
driveway
so-
for Lot B?
Yep. So right now they share their driveway, and then as Attorney Creedon said, the driveway forks off, and they have a garage under right on the right hand side of the building in the back.
Mm.
So they have this shared driveway that comes off of Sumner Street West.
So was this second Lot B supposed to be residential or a
No, it's
garage or some type of?
no, it was, as I said, it was a barn that was converted to residential.
And was that the initial plan that was signed off? It was
Yes,
signed
yes.
off to be a residential,
April of
not
this
a,
year.
Yes, ma'am.
okay. Questions from other board members?
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes, Marty.
Scott, can you tell me, tell me if I'm wrong, it sounds like this is kind of backwards.
It's, yeah, I think you're probably right. It's a little bit interesting that after the permits have all been issued now, to be honest with you, I think a lot of it has to do with the former structure being a structure from the 1800s that gives them certain rights under the zoning to, to convert it to residential. And there's also some case law that allows you to divide a property if both of the structures on the property were in existence prior to zoning. So it's a little bit tricky, but I would agree. We would typically have gone through the whole subdivision parcel, the whole Board of Appeals process before construction was started or completed, for sure. You're right.
It sounds like they built it and then came to ask permission.
Except permission
they-
from you folks, but they had permission, they received a building permit from the building department to build the two structures, to remodel the second structure. As I said, the second structure was a barn. They received a building permit to convert it from a barn to a residential structure. So they applied for the building permit and received those building permits. So really, all we're looking for now, we're not looking for permission to build it. We're just looking for permission to divide the property into 2 separate lots.
So is it owned by the same person?
It is.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
You're welcome. Matthew, any questions?
Yes, actually. So I see that in lot B, the lot A's walkway from their patio goes into that. Do you foresee that being an issue?
To be honest
in
with
the
you,
back.
Mr. Gallagher, I think once everything's said and done, we'll create an easement plan we need to create an easement plan to give access for both the utilities and the driveway from lot B through lot A. So I think at that point, we would also give a use easement for lot A over that little landscaped walkway. So it'll be able to be used by both properties.
Okay, and we know the current plans. Are there any future plans for this that you're aware of?
No, no, as far as I know, this is it. I mean, to be honest with you, there's really not much else they could do with it, to be perfectly honest. There is plenty of land in the back, but you can't, you couldn't build a road to get to it. You couldn't build another driveway to get to the back land. The zoning obviously doesn't allow it. So I don't see that there's anything else they could possibly do.
Okay, and just to confirm that there's a shared driveway on lot A that they'll both be using?
Correct. The existing driveway.
Okay, got it. Those are all the questions I have, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you, Matthew. Anyone else with questions? I'm just confused on why there's issues with the building department, but yet they issued permits. And I mean, you admit that you did the plan backwards, you built it, now you're asking permission to make it official.
Again, we're asking for permission to divide it into 2, even if the permission wasn't granted to divide into 2, then it would be a single lot with 2 structures on it. So it really doesn't affect the buildability of either lot. So the completion of either of the structures. So the building part of it, has been completed according to the building code and in the building department's wishes. So yeah, again, it's definitely confusing and a little bit, as Member Crowell said, it's a little bit backwards for sure. But again, just one point on your comment, Madam Chair. There really aren't any issues with the building department. The building department issued a building permit to convert the barn to a dwelling, and then recently they issued the completion permit, which is their certificate of completion, basically. So we really don't have any issues with the building department. They're happy with everything.
That was going to be my next question. Are you aware of any unresolved issues with the building department?
No, as I said, the people moved in and are living there, so the only thing we're looking to do is to now divide the property into 2.
Before I get to you, Deputy Chief, I just want to ask Evan. Evan, are you aware of any unresolved issues with the city building department?
So I spoke with the building commissioner about this, and I'm not sure, Scott, if you guys are on the same page with the building department, because how he explained it to me is that, yes, they issued some permits and the certificate of completion for this, but it was not for any kind of residential use. It was strictly supposed to be for an accessory use to the primary structure, the existing house. It was supposed to be a garage, not a residential dwelling. He said that this had gone to ZBA a few years ago for that and got denied. And I know that they are not okay with this. They still have issues. To my understanding, they've been kind of dealing with this property for a few years now. I'm not sure what the resolution is going to be, but he was pretty clear that this is only supposed to be an accessory use, not a residential use, and that if this subdivision does go through and splits off that accessory use from the primary use and that building can no longer be used, because there's no longer a structure to be an accessory use to. So you might want to talk to them just to see, because I think there's definitely been some miscommunication, because they are not okay with this.
That I was not aware of that at all, Evan.
Nor was I. Again, we were just looking to subdivide the property because that seems to be in order, regardless of what the city building inspector and the building department says, because again, the certificate of completion was done for everything that they had asked us to do. And I've only fairly recently been involved, so I don't know what happened a year or two ago.
Right, so that's why I asked this question, because it appears that it wasn't approved to be a residential, it was approved to be a garage. So you're not on the same page. I'm gonna turn the mic over to Deputy Chief Brandon to hear what he has to say, but you might want to think about a continuance to this.
That sounds like the direction we should go, but I'd certainly like to hear from Deputy Chief as well, Madam Chair.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So my concern somewhat parrot what Evan just said, in that, it's one thing to have two units on a property. When you subdivide them, you can create other issues. So as retired Fire Chief Ken Galligan has said in the past at zoning meetings, a good rule of thumb for parking spaces is 1 car per bedroom. This is already a shared driveway. So if you imagine the amount of cars that would be in this shared driveway just for 2 homes, if this lot is subdivided, probably not lot A, but certainly lot B would meet the requirements to add an ADU, an accessory dwelling unit at some point. They certainly have the space for it. That may be several more cars in the driveway now. And from my point, tactically speaking, if there were an incident at the current building on lot B or an accessory dwelling unit in the future behind it, we would have a very difficult time fighting that fire with the congestion in a shared driveway for 2, potentially 3 different dwelling units.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. So Scott, do you want to change your stance on this?
I'd like to at least ask for a continuance, Madam Chair, so we can,
Okay.
meet up with the building department, get with the planning department and figure out exactly, how we move forward, Madam Chair, based on that information. As I said, I certainly wasn't aware of it, and it doesn't look like Attorney Creedon was either, the issues with the building department. So we'd certainly like a chance to resolve those and hopefully come back before you, or withdraw if necessary. But at least if we could get a continuance to do a little more work on it, Madam Chair.
Okay. Evan, hearing this, do we need to open up to public, or do we just take a motion on a continuance?
There is no public here to hear from, so you can just vote.
Okay. Is there a motion to
I'd
continue?
make a motion to continue.
Second.
All right, roll call. Marty,
Yes.
Yolando,
Yes.
Matthew,
Yes.
James? James Sweeney?
Yes.
All right, Tony, yes. Okay.
All right, folks, thanks for your
Thank you,
time.
thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.
You too.
Good night, everyone.
If there's no further business, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Okay, roll call. Marty,
Yes.
Yolando,
Yes.
Matthew,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Tony, yes. All right, good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you all. Good night.
Enjoy, y'all.